In the vast landscape of spiritual philosophy and metaphysical understanding, few teachings have captured the imagination and dedication of seekers as profoundly as Paramahansa Yogananda's exposition on the subtle bodies of human consciousness. His work, drawn from ancient yogic traditions and presented through the lens of modern understanding, reveals a sophisticated architecture of being that extends far beyond the gross physical form most of us recognize as ourselves. The concept of 7 subtle bodies represents not merely an abstract theological construction, but rather a functional model of consciousness that describes how the divine essence animates and expresses itself through progressively denser layers of manifestation. Before we begin, if you enjoy this video, give me a like, comment below about your thought and hit subscribe button so you don't miss any video inspired by Yogananda's teaching. Thank you very much. Yogananda's teaching emerged from the Kriya Yoga tradition, which itself traces its lineage back through centuries of Hindu and yogic philosophy. Rather than presenting these subtle bodies as mere ethereal abstractions removed from practical application, Yogananda integrated them into a comprehensive system of spiritual practice and self-realization. He emphasized that understanding the subtle bodies was not an exercise in intellectual curiosity, but rather an essential component of genuine spiritual development. A map of consciousness that reveals the interconnected nature of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual dimensions of human existence. The subtle bodies, according to Yogananda's teachings, exist in a hierarchical arrangement, each interpenetrating and encompassing the others. They represent successively finer grades of matter and energy, moving from the dense physical plane toward the transcendent realms of pure consciousness. This is not to suggest a rigid separation between these bodies, but rather a continuum of vibration and frequency, where each level serves as a bridge between the material and the spiritual, the finite and the infinite. The framework of 7 bodies provides a bridge between traditional Eastern mysticism and the modern scientific investigation of human potential and consciousness. The physical body, the first and most obvious of these subtle bodies, serves as the densest and most material expression of human existence. Yet even here, Yogananda's teachings move beyond ordinary materialism. The physical body is understood not as an inert mass of flesh and bone, but as a sophisticated instrument of consciousness, capable of both extraordinary sensitivity and remarkable resilience. It is the vehicle through which consciousness experiences the material world, and through disciplined practices such as yoga and meditation, the physical body becomes a tool for transformation. Yogananda emphasized that the physical body deserves respect and care, not as an end in itself, but as the necessary foundation upon which higher spiritual development must be built. The physical body maintains its form and function through the life force, or prana, which circulates through specific energy channels and centers. The etheric body constitutes the second subtle body and represents the life force body that animates and energizes the physical form. Also known as the vital body or energy body, the etheric body is composed of prana, the universal life force that flows through all living things. This body interpenetrates the physical body completely and extends slightly beyond it, creating what some traditions call the aura. The etheric body is responsible for the maintenance and health of the physical form. When the flow of prana becomes blocked or diminished, physical ailments and diseases begin to manifest. Yogananda taught that through pranayama practices, the regulation and control of breath and prana, practitioners can strengthen and purify the etheric body, thereby promoting physical health and vitality. The etheric body serves as the bridge between the purely material physical form and the more subtle emotional and mental bodies. The astral body, the third subtle body in Yogananda's hierarchy, corresponds to the realm of emotions, desires, and lower mental functions. This body is composed of a finer substance than the physical and etheric bodies, and it is the vehicle through which human beings experience emotions, imagination, and dream states. The astral body is the seat of what might be called the emotional self, the center of likes and dislikes, attachments and aversions, hopes and fears. When the physical body sleeps, consciousness may wander into the astral realms through the astral body, which explains the vividness and seemingly independent reality of dreams. In Yogananda's teachings, the purification of the astral body is crucial to spiritual progress, as unresolved emotional patterns and unrealistic desires create distortions that prevent clear perception of truth. Through meditation and the systematic observation of thoughts and emotions, the astral body can be refined and brought into alignment with higher spiritual purposes. The mental body, the fourth subtle body, constitutes the seat of thought, intellect, and reasoning. It is the domain of concepts, ideas, logic, and rational understanding. This body is composed of even finer substance than the astral body, and it operates at a higher frequency of vibration. The mental body is responsible for intellectual analysis, conceptualization, and the formation of belief systems. While the mental body is indispensable for navigating ordinary life and acquiring knowledge, Yogananda cautioned that an over-identification with the thinking mind can create barriers to higher spiritual understanding. The intellect, while powerful, has inherent limitations. It can only grasp what it can comprehend within the framework of duality and linear logic. True spiritual wisdom transcends the mental body, yet the mental body, when refined and disciplined, becomes a servant of higher consciousness rather than its master. The causal body, the fifth subtle body, represents a more transcendent level of consciousness that is sometimes called the superconscious mind or the higher intellect. This body is beyond the realm of ordinary thought and emotion. It is the repository of the soul's karma, the accumulated impressions and potential consequences of all past actions. The causal body encompasses and transcends the lower bodies of physical, etheric, astral, and mental manifestation. It is in the causal body that the eternal patterns and blueprints of an individual's existence reside, the soul's purpose and destiny. Access to the causal body is typically achieved only through deep meditation and advanced spiritual practice. In the causal body lies the faculty of intuition in its highest form, direct knowing without the intermediary of thought. Yogananda taught that enlightenment involves the awakening and stabilization of consciousness in the causal body, where one begins to recognize one's true nature beyond the limitations of the individual ego. The Christ consciousness body, the sixth subtle body, represents a level of awareness and being that transcends the individual soul and recognizes the underlying unity of all existence. This body is named not in exclusively Christian terms, but rather to honor the universality of a particular state of consciousness that has been recognized across different spiritual traditions, what might also be called Buddha consciousness or Krishna consciousness in other contexts. At this level of consciousness, the illusion of separation dissolves, and the awareness expands to include all beings and the entire cosmos. The Christ consciousness body is characterized by unconditional love, infinite compassion, and the direct recognition of the divine in all manifestation. This body cannot be adequately described through ordinary language, as it exists beyond the dualistic framework of subject and object that language necessarily employs. Yogananda's teachings suggest that the cultivation of Christ consciousness is the natural flowering of genuine spiritual practice, and that this state is available to any sincere seeker regardless of their religious tradition or background. The absolute consciousness body, the seventh and most transcendent of the subtle bodies, represents the highest state of spiritual realization, the direct experience of indifferentiated divine consciousness itself. This is consciousness without object, existence without form, awareness without the division between observer and observed. The absolute consciousness body is sometimes described as Brahman or pure being consciousness bliss, the ultimate reality from which all other levels of manifestation emanate. To speak of the absolute consciousness body is already a limitation, for it transcends all concepts of bodies, levels, and distinction. It is the source and destination of all spiritual seeking, the ground of being from which all existence arises and into which all existence ultimately returns. Yogananda taught that direct realization of this absolute state is the goal of all genuine spiritual practice, and that such realization is the birthright of every human being. The significance of understanding these 7 subtle bodies extends far beyond theoretical knowledge. In Yogananda's comprehensive spiritual system, recognition of the subtle bodies provides a practical framework for systematic spiritual development. Each body corresponds to particular practices and disciplines that can refine and elevate consciousness. The physical body is addressed through the asanas and physical practices of yoga, the etheric body through pranayama and the regulation of life force, the astral body through emotional purification and the sublimation of desires, the mental body through meditation and the cultivation of discrimination, the causal body through advanced meditation on the soul's true nature, the Christ consciousness body through the progressive expansion of love and compassion, and the absolute consciousness body through the transcendence of all seeking itself. Furthermore, Yogananda's teaching on the subtle bodies addresses a fundamental gap in Western understanding of human nature. Conventional materialism recognizes only the physical body and attempts to explain all aspects of consciousness and experience as byproducts of physical brain activity. This reductionist approach cannot account for the remarkable scope and depth of human experience, the reality of intuition, the power of consciousness to influence matter, the persistence of memory across apparent neural boundaries, or the transformative power of genuine spiritual experience. By presenting a multidimensional model of human being, Yogananda provides a framework that honors both the material world investigated by science and the interior dimensions of consciousness accessible through direct spiritual experience. The teaching on subtle bodies also illuminates the process of spiritual evolution in a new light. Rather than viewing spirituality as the abandonment of the material world in favor of some distant heaven, Yogananda's system presents spiritual development as the progressive refinement and elevation of the very faculties and bodies through which consciousness operates. The physical body need not be transcended so much as recognized for what it truly is, a magnificent instrument of divine consciousness. Similarly, the emotions, thoughts, and desires that characterize the astral and mental bodies need not be suppressed or rejected, but rather refined, elevated, and brought into harmony with the deepest truth of one's being. In the contemporary context, Yogananda's teachings on the subtle bodies have become increasingly relevant. As people throughout the world experience the limitations and contradictions of purely materialistic worldviews, there is a growing hunger for a more comprehensive understanding of human nature and potential. The concept of subtle bodies provides a vocabulary and framework for discussing dimensions of experience that most humans recognize as real but which conventional frameworks struggle to accommodate. Whether approached as literal metaphysical realities or as valuable metaphors for different dimensions of human consciousness and experience, Yogananda's 7 subtle bodies offer profound insights into the nature of being and the possibilities for human transformation and awakening. The path of recognizing and developing the subtle bodies is fundamentally a path of coming home to one's true nature. As one progresses from identification with the gross physical body toward recognition of progressively subtler dimensions of being, consciousness naturally expands and fears diminish. The awareness that one is not limited to the physical body, that one possesses higher bodies and higher consciousness, fundamentally transforms one's relationship to life, death, suffering, and joy. This is the promise implicit in Yogananda's teachings: not escape from the world, but awakening within it. Not rejection of the body, but liberation through understanding the full range of one's being. The 7 subtle bodies constitute an integrated whole, each interpenetrating and supporting the others in a symphony of consciousness. They are not separate silos of experience, but rather concentric layers of a unified being. The physical body cannot be truly healthy if the etheric body is depleted. The astral body cannot be at peace if emotions are unresolved. The mental body cannot achieve clarity if clouded by unconscious conditioning. And none of these can develop their full potential without the guidance and alignment of higher consciousness. This interconnection suggests that genuine transformation cannot be partial or compartmentalized, but must involve the harmonization and elevation of the whole being. Yogananda's exposition of the subtle bodies ultimately points toward a profound truth: that human beings are infinitely more than they ordinarily recognize themselves to be. Within each person lies the potential for consciousness to expand beyond all limitations, to recognize itself as identical with the divine consciousness underlying all existence. The 7 subtle bodies provide a map of this territory of consciousness, a guide for those seeking to awaken to their fullest potential and deepest truth. Through understanding, honoring, and progressively refining these bodies through dedicated practice, the seeker embarks on a transformative journey that culminates not in escape from life, but in the fullest possible engagement with existence as an expression and instrument of divine consciousness.